Chapter 12. Early History of Palmolive. We organized in our agency an advisory board over which I presided. We announced that anyone could bring their advertising problems in person or by letter and receive without obligation the advice of the best men in our agency. Some 16 able advertising men sat around the table. They offered an inviting opportunity to advertisers, existing or prospective. Some hundreds of men with dubious prospects came there, and we advised 19 and 20 of them not to proceed. The men who hesitated were large advertisers who had most at stake. That is generally so in this line. Our object in these meetings was to foster good advertising, to warn men against mistakes, and to try to discover in the mass of suggestions some jewels of advertising opportunities. Under the same policy, we published numerous books offering advice based on our many experiences. We felt that our own interests depended on the prosperity of advertising as a whole. Mistakes and disasters hurt advertising. One conspicuous success may encourage many ventures. No doubt our helpful and unselfish policy was a large factor in the growth of advertising during the past 20 years. One morning there appeared at our meeting Mr. B.J. Johnson of the B.J. Johnson Soap Company of Milwaukee. With him came Mr. Charles Pierce, a newly appointed sales manager who was seeking a way to make good. They came to discuss galvanic soap, a laundry soap. After due consideration, we advised them against entering that advertising field. It is too difficult, too hard fought to offer encouragement to a new advertiser. On the facts we cited, the owners soon came to agree with us. Then we asked if they had anything else. They said that they had a toilet soap called Palmolive, made with palm and olive oils. It had slight distribution. They had not considered it as an advertising possibility. At that time, the men around the table only dimly recognized the strength of the beauty appeal. We were destined to later develop on that line some of the greatest advertising successes. There is no stronger appeal to women. One man suggested that Cleopatra used palm and olive oils. Another reminded us that Roman beauties did likewise. Gradually, we came to recognize the germ of an advertising opportunity, and we asked the soap makers to let us make an experiment. We suggested a trial in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we estimated that it could be made for about $1,000. But that was too much money to stake on so uncertain a venture. So we were forced to compromise on Benton Harbor, Michigan, where the cost was $700. In that little city appeared the first ads on Palmolive soap. We evolved a plan of introduction which I have used in many of my best campaigns. I originated that plan so far as I know, and it has been one of the chief factors in my success. We ran 2 or 3 ads telling the story of Palmolive soap, bringing out the beauty appeal. Above the ads in a box, we announced that in a few days we would buy a cake of Palmolive for every woman who applied. That offer multiplied the readers of our ads. When you offer to buy something for a woman, she wants to learn about it. Thus we interested most women readers in our complexion soap. When we felt that we had created a sufficient desire for it, we came out with a page ad with a coupon at any store for a 10-cent cake. The coupon authorized the dealer to deliver one cake to the bearer and charge us 10 cents for it. This plan has many advantages over a free offer. It is much more impressive, for one thing. There is considerable difference in the psychological effect when you offer to buy an article for a woman to try and pay the dealer his price for it, as compared with offering that article free to all. The free offer cheapens a product. There is a certain resistance when we ask people to afterward pay for a product which came to them first as a gift. But when we ourselves buy the article, just as the consumer does, we show supreme confidence in the belief that the article will please. "We will buy" is a much better headline than 10-cent cake free. Then the buying method forces dealers to stock the product you offer. No salesmen are needed. Simply mail a proof of the coupon ad to dealers. Point out the fact that practically every home will receive it. Also that the coupon is as good as a dime. Women will not throw it away. If one dealer fails to redeem it, another will. We gain by this plan universal distribution immediately at moderate cost. That is, of course, the first essential in advertising. Run in any community a few ads announcing a buying offer, and you are sure of a pretty general reading of your proposition. Then when the page ad appears with the coupon, all who are interested in your product will present it. Thus we gain in 2 weeks a general understanding of our product and users by the thousands. I have never found that it paid to give either a sample or a full-size package to people who do not request it. We must arouse interest in our product before it has value to anybody. I consider promiscuous sampling a very bad plan indeed. Products handed out without asking or thrown on the doorstep lose respect. It is different when you force people to make an effort or when you buy the product at retail price on request. Such was the plan we used in Benton Harbor on the initial Palmolive ads. The cost, including the redemption of coupons, was $700, I believe. As a result, several thousand women were started on this soap with full knowledge of its qualities and purpose. Then we waited to see the effect. What would users do when they tried the soap? The answer to that question is the most vital factor in advertising. Now I come to some figures which may not be exact. This campaign was started in 1911. My memory may be somewhat but not seriously at fault. The repeat sales in Benton Harbor paid for the advertising before the bills were due. We knew then we had struck a responsive chord. We knew we had a winner. We tried the same test ads in numerous other cities, always with like results. I believe that they spent $50,000 in local advertising to prove that our appeal was effective. Always the advertising paid for itself as we went along. Then we went into magazines and gained national distribution and sale in ways I shall describe. Let me pause for a few remarks. In the tales I recite in this history, there is no desire to overemphasize any parts I played. Our agency was an organization of experienced men who worked together. The head of the agency often said that we never succeeded for anybody who could not have succeeded without us. I do not agree with him. On most of our successes, we were the ones to discover and develop the advertising opportunities. That was naturally so because that was our business. The plan, the theory, and the strategy of the advertising all were our creations. But one necessity was an acceptable product. That depended on the makers. Another necessity was good business management. I consider the Palmolive success as particularly due to that after the root was discovered. The leading factor was the Charles Pierce who came to us that fateful morning in 1911. The purpose of this business biography is not to claim personal credit. It is to point out to those who follow me certain principles which I discovered by hard work. I have no wish to minimize any other person's part or hurt anybody's pride. No business is created by one man. After those local newspaper tests on Palmolive, it was decided to attain national distribution quickly. There we followed the same lines as in our local efforts. We contracted for a page in the Saturday Evening Post and Ladies' Home Journal. There we inserted a coupon good at any drugstore in the country for a 10-cent cake of Palmolive. We sent advance proofs of that page to druggists everywhere, giving figures on the circulation by localities and pointing out the coupon was good as a dime to the woman and the druggist. As a result, we received orders from everywhere for a soap which the dealers had never seen. As I remember, those advance orders exceeded $100,000. Jobbers were well stocked, on consignment, I think, so that dealers could quickly get new supplies. When the ads came out, the coupon demand was tremendous. After a few days, tens of thousands of women were using Palmolive soap, seeking the virtues described in our advertising. And the drugstores of the country, almost to a store, were supplying it. The results in repeat sales were even better in our local appeals. Such were the ways in which Palmolive soap was established, so far as advertising was concerned. Now the sales run to many millions yearly. Palmolive is the leading toilet soap of the world. The annual advertising expenditure runs into enormous figures. Makers, advertising agents, and publishers have gained fortunes in the evolution of this $700 test. Some lessons I would like to draw are these. Human nature our country over is about alike. The appeal which won in Benton Harbor won from coast to coast. One does not need to sell a product twice. One can really afford to sell to both dealers and consumers. If you sell the consumer, the dealer will supply the demand. That is more important today than in old days. Both personal salesmanship and advertising are more costly than they were. Quick volume is more profitable than slowly developed volume. When one proves that a plan is right and safe, the great object is quick development. Attain the maximum as soon as you can. The simple things easily understood, striking a popular chord, are the appeals which succeed with the masses. They often sound to the intellectual like excerpts from Mother Goose. Dutch cleanser chases dirt. Ivory soap floats. Gold dust twins do your work. Children cry for Castoria. Keep your schoolgirl complexion. Such things win the 9/10. I once knew a man who was advertising business books. They were instructive, based on exceptional experience, books that any businessman should read. But the publisher could not sell them at a profit. He consulted an advertising expert in our office. About all the expert did was to suggest the announcement. Your name will be printed in gilt on each book. We might naturally say that such an announcement to a businessman would not prove important, but it made that set of books a success. It gave the books some distinction, some personality that won beyond all the logical arguments. A life insurance company solicits business by mail from men considered wise. The usual argument would stir few men to action. But this company states that a leather-covered memorandum book with his name in gilt is waiting for his acceptance. Simply tell them where to send it. At the same time, tell them the date of your birth, etc., facts on which to present an insurance proposition. This offer, I believe, goes only to men of affairs, men who are supposed to be absorbed in large business problems. But it gains a reply from a very large percentage. Those men of affairs dislike to think that some little book which belongs to them, perhaps a 10-cent book, is being overlooked. Such is human nature. Now back to the Palmolive Company. The success of Palmolive soap led these good people into many advertising adventures. Most of them were fizzles, as with the majority of such undertakings. Neither they nor we had the magic to do the impossible things. One was Palmolive shampoo. They had on that no unique claims. It was simply a good shampoo. The appeal presented was, buy my brand instead of the other fellows, and such appeals never go far. In an island near Japan, there grows an oil famous for growing hair. I have before me photographs of Japanese women standing on chairs with their hair floating on the floor. The whole supply of the oil had been contracted for years by French hair tonic makers. The contracts had expired. I urged the Palmolive people to secure that oil and argument, but the cost was high. I do not know what has been done on Palmolive shampoo by merchandising methods, but I have had much experience with other shampoos, and I know that nobody in a hard-fought field has ever succeeded without some exceptional claims. On the other side, let me recite the experience with Palmolive shaving cream. That was a logical adaptation of the fame of Palmolive soap, but certain facts had to be considered. Practically all the users of shaving cream were wedded to certain brands. Perhaps most of them had used those brands for years, and they liked them. Our problem was to win users from one brand to another. One can hardly claim in a shaving soap exceptional effects. That is not logical. Some of the greatest soap makers in the country have studied shaving soaps for years, but they have never stated in exact terms their accomplishments. I sent out some research men to interview men by the hundreds. I asked them what they most desired in a shaving cream. Then I took those answers to Milwaukee, then the home of Palmolive, and submitted them to V.C. Cassidy, chief chemist. I said, these are the factors men want. They may get them in other shaving creams, but nobody yet has told them. Give me actual data on these results as applied to Palmolive shaving cream. Men wanted abundant lather. Cassidy proved that Palmolive shaving cream multiplied itself in lather 250 times. Men wanted quick action. The Palmolive chemists proved by tests that within 1 minute, the beard absorbed 15% of water, and that made the hairs wax-like for cutting. Men wanted enduring lather. Chemists proved that Palmolive shaving cream maintained its creamyfulness for 10 minutes on the face. Palm and olive oils were accepted as a lotion, but I asked Mr. Cassidy if there was anything else which the ordinary man did not realize on shaving cream. He said that the greatest factor was unrecognized, the reason why men could not use in shaving an ordinary toilet soap. That is the fact that the bubbles are not strong and enduring. They must wedge in between the hairs and hold them erect like wheat prepared for mowing. So we claimed for Palmolive shaving cream, and rightly, bubbles that meet the requirements. Probably other shaving creams could meet the same specifications. I have no idea that one man far excels some others in this line, but we were the first to give figures on results, and one actual figure counts for more than countless platitudes. I am told that in 18 months, Palmolive shaving cream dominated the field it entered. If so, it was because we substituted actual figures for atmospheric claims. Anybody who reads this, interested in real advertising, should get the points I introduced. You cannot go into a well-occupied field on the simple appeal, buy my brand. That is a selfish appeal repugnant to all. One must offer exceptional service to induce people to change from favorite brands to yours. The usual advertiser does not offer that exceptional service. It cannot be expected. But giving exact figures on that service which others fail to supply may establish great advantage. Take the example of Mazda lamps, or tungsten lamps in general. The claim that they give more light than carbon lamps makes slight impression. Everybody expects one seller to claim advantage over others. But when you state that tungsten lamps multiply efficiency 3 times over, that is something for all to consider. Back of all of which lies the principle of personal salesmanship. All advertising should be based on that. Meeting a woman at her door is much like meeting her around her evening lamp. The same principles of salesmanship apply, and advertising is salesmanship in print.